Namaste and a very warm good morning to all of you. I welcome you all to this plenary session where we will discuss the role of Indian diaspora in enabling global mobility of the Indian workforce. For today's session, we have a prestigious panel of speakers from across the world who are pioneers of creating innovative and sustainable mobility pathways for Indians and strengthening India's presence across the world. The chair of this session is Honorable Minister Sri Dharmendra Pradhanji, who himself is at the helm in Government of India on two critical areas, namely education and skill development. Several path-breaking initiatives have been taken in both these areas under his leadership. From this session, our hope is to identify some key takeaways on how 32 million strong Indian diaspora across the world can convert skills to gainful employment opportunities for Indian diaspora. As Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi has said, talent and technology are two pillars which are key to India's development. And yesterday he said that our youth have skills and values, and that can make India an engine for the growth and development across the entire world. And in this, we should add our diaspora youth also. Prime Minister's path-breaking Skill India initiative has upskilled crores of aspirational Indian youth till date and forms the backbone of this mobility ecosystem. On our part, Ministry of External Affairs has actively pursued mobility and migration agreements with several key countries by mapping global workforce requirements and skill expectations with country-specific data. Some of the questions that our panel will be deliberating upon will include how diaspora can help identify skills expectations in their countries, how access to information about job opportunities in destination countries can be enhanced, possibilities of upskilling or reskilling at their workplace, skill verification and harmonization frameworks with different countries, and best practices for integration of migrants in their recipient societies. Let me now say a few introductory words for the chair of the session, Honorable Minister Sri Dharmendra Pradhanji, who of course needs no introduction to you, but just a few words. Honorable Minister has been in public life for almost 3 decades and a Union Minister since 2014. He currently represents Madhya Pradesh, where we are today in the Rajya Sabha. He has several successes to his credit. As Union Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas, he led from the front on hugely successful schemes such as the Ujjwala Yojana. As the Minister for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, earlier and now he has launched many key initiatives focusing on skilling, reskilling, and upskilling the manpower of India and emphasized on bridging the skills gap for the Indian youth. He is also revolutionizing the education sector, making quality education accessible for all through the National Education Policy 2020. Without further ado, I would request Honorable Minister Shri Dharmendra Pradhan to guide us with his opening remarks. Thank you.
Namaskar. Jai Jagannath. Good morning, friends. Honorable Minister of Social Integration, Social Security and National Solidarity, Government of Mauritius, Madam Hajila Jiwa, my dear friend, CMD of Lulu Group of International, Mr. Ishu Falliji, Member of Board SBI Group, SBI Securities, Mr. Sanjeev Sinha ji, Chair for Women in Business Chapter of Australia-India Business Council, Madam Sahiba ji, Mr. Kuldeep Singh Shekhawat ji, Director MATV UK and Swagat TV Network, Chairman and MD ERM Group from Saudi Arab, Mr. Sadiq Ahmad ji, former ambassador to Jordan, Libya and Malta, Mr. Anil Trigunath ji, Honorable Union Minister, Mr. V. Muralidharan ji, Mr. R. Singh ji, Honorable Minister of Home Affairs of Government of Madhya Pradesh, Narottam Misra ji, my dear local minister, Mr. Shaklecha ji, distinguished friends from the different part of the globe, on this occasion of 17th edition of Pravasi Bharatiya Sammelan, on the concluding day, on behalf of our beloved leader, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, and on behalf of Sri Shivraj Singh, the Honorable Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, and on behalf of entire country, I welcome all of you in this auspicious city of Indore. I hope you all are enjoying the hospitality of local government. Friends, you all are important component of Indian civilization and this great journey. And you all are very fortunate. Let me begin with one example. Where are you in this part of globe? We all have a wristwatch, and we all know GMT is the normal standardization of time calculation, Greenwich Mean Time. This calculation is a colonial model. UK started this calculation methodology in the world since 19th century onward. You all are in great city of Indore. In the recent past, a few centuries ago, Rani Ahalya Bai, the iconic personality, the lady visionary leader who envisioned for good administration and courage. During her tenure, lot of new standards has been developed in the very city. In the neighboring district, in the present day time, the city of Mahakal, city of Lord Shiva, the Ujjain. In the Vikramaditya period in the 4th century, we discovered the Tropic of Cancer. The Tropic of Cancer line is just above Ujjain. That calculation has been started during Vikramaditya period in the 4th century. And in those days, Varahamira, Brahmagupta, Bhaskaracharya, like eminent astrophysics experts were there in those days. That shows the depth of this locality in the global map. You all are in a very good place, in the good time. Friends, I don't want to pamper you. Who all are you? What is your role? Since long we have a belief, at one point of time, we were the leader of the entire humanity, not as a military power, but as an intellectual leader. That's a very popular concept. ये हम सब मानते हैं, भारत कभी विश्व गुरु के स्थान पे था. हम जब भारत को विश्व गुरु की वर्णन करते हैं, हमारा कल्पना ये कभी नहीं रहता है कि हम एक मिलिट्री पावर बनेंगे. Entire world is in the crossroad today, whose mighty will be run over the world, but India is not in that race. Especially after this phase of global tension crisis and the recovery path after COVID-19 pandemic, the entire civilization is at crossroad. The new ideas, new models, new approaches are coming up automatically. That is the nature of society. That is the nature of when a man puts to the world, innovation comes in that place. Today we all are discussing regarding global mobility and Indian workforce. You all are experiencing and a major stakeholder of this topic. What is your role? Today, in the simple term, you all know this fact, but I am repeating that. Today, around 3.32 million people are working in the different part of more than 200 countries they are working. The net benefit to India is 100 billion remittance economy is there. State like Kerala, state like Bihar, state like Uttar Pradesh, and state like Odisha, state like West Bengal, entire northeastern states, they are depending on this remittance economy. There is one simple reality of world today. If we calculate the global population, somewhere engaged in the global production, supply chain, global production, and other part are consuming, and other part, in a vast area, they are in between. Neither they are a producing country, neither they have capacity to purchase their requirement. In this scenario, some of the global products are very costly. In some part of the globe, some part of the global produce are not up to the mark, not up to the quality. With this situation, India is the happening point in the 21st century. You all have a very important role. India has envisioned in the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, there is a new national education policy. Yesterday only, Prime Minister re-emphasized India can be the global hub for the skilled manpower. At one point of time, our common understanding regarding skill was of blue-collar jobs, manual jobs. In the era of innovation and technology, now paradigm has been shifted. Half of the globe's work has been done by machine on the digital platforms, and half of the job has been executed by hands, by manual approach. With this changing pattern, how to increase the mobility, how to enhance the capacity of our workforce, that is the challenge in front of all of us. And here, being in charge of education sector and skill sector, I am depending on you. Prime Minister is reposing faith on you to create a new model in India, in the globe of Indian workforce. There are certain inherent quality in Indian workforce. Hard work, honesty, responsibility, all this intangible quality of human being are already existing in the Indian ecosystem. That apart, if I cite one example, in the digital stake, now we have envisioned Indian stake mechanism. The digital connectivity, digital use in all walk of life, whether it is a sweeper, is a cleaner, or is a rocket scientist. India has its own strength and capacity. In the digital transaction, India contributes 40% now. In NEP, in the new skill approach, we have envisioned we will create a skill network in our country. Today, there are around 500 million workforce in our country. 300 million students are there. If I count students from class 6 to post-graduation or PhD scholars, that amounts 200 million. 500 million existing workforce, 200 million youngsters, those who are in campus, putting together this 700 million. Now India is envisioning Skill India digital portal, seed portal. Through this portal, we are envisioning to create skilling modules, reskilling modules, upskilling modules. Skilling is a continuous lifelong learning process. In every year, we are changing our phone handsets. Every time, there are 5 more new features in our telephones. It's not only features of entertainment, they are features of economic opportunities. Through your telephone, you can control the entire globe's activities, whether it is economic front, the social front. Whether it is entertainment or information. Now, technology is enabling all of us. Technology has shrunk the entire global space for all of us. Friends, with this scenario, the challenge is how we can found the proper place. Where are the jobs? Now technology is giving us opportunity. Staying in India, we can service the entire world. I found almost all global company of any part of the globe, their back-end offices are now in India, whether it is Chennai or Pune or Delhi or Mumbai or Bengaluru, or the remote part of the country, in your villages. You all have set up your back-end office, designing, accounting, manpower management. You are putting your back-end office at India because twofold, two things, quality and affordability. Friends, in the era of technology, we have to find out jobs for our countrymen. They can go there. They can give service from here also. We have to envision you are the best and knowledgeable person. Where are the jobs? Which kind of requirements is necessary? What are the standardization? What are the equivalent certificates? Through NEP, we are envisioning a very flexible model. Multiple exit, multiple entry. For the first time in India, we are giving credit framework from class 1 to research student. On job credit, earning will be there. There will be a academic bank of credits for all the students, whether it is in the campus or in the workplace, whether in the skill sector or the formal education sector. The credit framework will be facilitate him to upskill his capacity, upskill his knowledge level. Rightly, Prime Minister said, nowadays, degree is not important, competence is important. Performance is important, output is important. India, through its new policy, is giving importance in all these areas. With this expectation, with this new flexible policy, with this new technology capability, recently India has envisioned there are 0.6 million villages in country. By next 2 years, all the villages will be enabled with cable internet service. From last October, India has started rolling out 5G by 2 major telecom companies, Airtel and Jio. And very soon, our indigenous technology of 5G, developed by our own IITs, developed by CDAT, will be rolled out by BSNL. That means by next 1 year, there will be a high quality technology in name of 5G. And India has enabled its space policy, reformed its space policy. Low orbit private space will be available. Private satellite will be available. Commercial satellite will be available. With these 3 things, India can convert its capacity for the service of the global manpower, global requirement, whether it is health sector, whether it is agriculture sector, whether it is logistic, whether it is science and technology, or any project activities. With this expectation, I know we have capacity. You all have started your journey from a humble background. With this kind of experience, use your experience to create more than 100 million workforce who will work for the entire humanity. Will not only work with the aim of earning money, earning dollars, earning economic opportunity. If Indian workforce will be there in the entire global value chain, quality will be there. पड़ोस की देशों की माल के बारे में आधे विश्व के लोग चिंतित रहते हैं कि उसकी माल की क्वालिटी क्या है नहीं है. कोरोना के समय में ग्लोव्स आया, पीपी किट्स आया, ऐसे ही लौट के चला गया. भारत में ऐसा नहीं होता है और भारत की कैपेसिटी कुछ अलग है. कोरोना जब आया हमारे देश में एक भी पीस ऑफ पीपी किट हम नहीं बनाते थे. आज हम नेट इंपोर्टर बन गए. कभी याद करिए, एक समय था भारत में गेहूं नहीं था, गेहूं नहीं था. हम अमेरिका से PL4 गेहूं, सड़े हुए गेहूं खरीदना पड़ता था. इस बार पेंडेमिक के बाद भारत ने 140 देशों को मेडिसिन सप्लाई किया, उसमें से 40 देशों को मुफ्त में मेडिसिन सप्लाई किया. ये आप लोगों की बदौलत हुई है. विद दिस बैकग्राउंड, ये जो विषय आज हम लोगों ने चर्चा के लिए रखा है, ग्लोबल मोबिलिटी और भारत की मानव संबल, उसके लिए आप लोगों की भूमिका, इसके बारे में बहुत योग्य पैनल यहाँ बैठा है. मैं आप सभी से अपेक्षा करता हूं पैनल और आपकी सभी की ओर से कुछ योग्य सुझाव. आई एम ओपन टू एनी काइंड ऑफ सजेशंस एंड न्यू आइडियाज. दिस गवर्नमेंट इज वेरी ओपन टू एंड वेरी पार्टिसिपेटरी मेथड ऑफ गवर्नेंस. आप सभी की परामर्श से हम मिलके भारत को दुनिया के एक जिम्मेवार देश बनाए. आप सभी की इस गरिमामय उपस्थिति के लिए बहुत धन्यवाद.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Honorable Minister. I would now request the Honorable Mrs. Fazila Jiwa Duraibu, Minister of Social Integration, Social Security and National Solidarity of Republic of Mauritius, to make her initial remarks. Just by way of a small background, she was elected and served as member of the Mauritius National Assembly from 2005 to 2010. In 2014, she was appointed Minister of Social Security, National Solidarity and Reform Institutions. And in 2017, she was made the Minister of Gender Equality, Child Development and Family Welfare of Republic of Mauritius. She was the first woman to become Vice Prime Minister in Mauritius in November 2017. In 2018, she was conferred the award of Grand Commander of the Star and Key of the Indian Ocean. The Honorable Mrs. Fazila has been a solicitor registered on the roll of the Supreme Court of Mauritius and has more than 25 years standing with experience in family matters. Excellency, your forefathers migrated from India to Mauritius, and in one sense, they represented one of the first waves of migrants who then facilitated further mobility of the Indian community and workers and professionals to Mauritius. We would be very grateful if you could talk about their experience and how you have maintained your touch with India. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Vipul, for your kind introduction. Minister of Education and Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Sri Dharmendra Pradhanji, my friends panelists, Mauritian delegation, Minister of Arts and Culture from Mauritius and his spouse, Tilak, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum, Shubh Sawar, Namaskar, good morning. I'm delighted to be here in Indore with all of you today. Indore is a fascinating city. I loved every bit of Indore. The food is very delicious and gracious hospitality too. Congratulations to everyone involved in organizing and hosting these divas. I cannot help being emotional and sentimental whenever I'm in India. I personally share emotional roots with your country. इस सम्मेलन में उपस्थित सभी प्रवासी को मेरा नमस्कार। आज यहाँ आकर मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है। ये खुशी सिर्फ सम्मेलन के लिए नहीं है, मुझे इस बात से ज़्यादा खुशी है कि मैं भारत में हूँ। भारत जो कि मेरे घर जैसे हैं, हमारे जारे भारत से हैं। It brings me immense pleasure to be in the land of my grandparents who hailed from Surat in our endearing Gujarat. You know, it was a time when many Gujaratis were looking for a better future and new opportunities in other faraway lands such as Madagascar, Réunion Island, South Africa, and of course, Mauritius as well. Most of the Gujaratis settled in those countries. My grandparents came to settle in the 19th century. My grandfather was only 14 years old when he traveled throughout Surat to come to Mauritius to follow the footsteps of his elder brother who was already in Mauritius. He started a business, opened a shop in Mount Piton, Pamplemousses in Mauritius. When the time came for him to get married, he went back to Surat to choose his bride there. They both came together to work in the shop. And after some time, my uncle left Mauritius to settle in South Africa, but my grandparents stayed in Mauritius. And what is interesting to note, they were not only in business, you know, in their spare time, they were teaching Gujarati Farsi to the Indian community and to others. And they have always laid a lot of emphasis on education, education, and education. The greatest legacy my grandparents passed on to us is a legacy of values, a demonstration of courage, perseverance, patience in the face of challenges. Never give up, always be strong. They have indeed contributed to the building of the Mauritian nation. May the Almighty bless their souls. I'm so proud to be part of this legacy, proud to be an Indian diaspora. As you can see, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, Indian diaspora came a very long journey. Ham tumane prem karuchu. You know, when the island of Mauritius was a British colony, a major part of the workforce was in fact Indians. That explains why 70% of the population of Mauritius find their roots in India. They are very familiar with the unique and fascinating culture and traditions of India. They have indeed kept a deep emotional attachment with incredible India. India is home. This explains also why a large Mauritian delegation is present in India for these divas, where we are all getting an opportunity to reconnect to our roots. Allow me at this stage to thank the government of the Republic of India for inviting Mauritius to be part of the 17th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas Convention 2023. We do realize that bringing together so many people across the world is not an easy task. Hats off to the government of India, hats off to all of you. In fact, India diaspora is a symbol of national pride. India, we can say, has prospered because you have an Indian diaspora who not only provide capital and talent, but also a network and presence all over the world. Their contributions are immense. The PBD is a great occasion for people of the Indian diaspora around the world to connect, contribute, and celebrate. You know, all over the past 2 years, the world has been severely hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. Severe impact on the global economy and social aspect. The PPD comes at the right moment. This is the time to come together as global partners and confront the urgent global challenges together. One of the greatest lessons of the COVID-19 pandemic is the importance of resilience. As we see, many countries are getting back up again. Under your Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji leadership, India emerged as the pharmacy to supply medicine and vaccine to many countries. I must take a moment to mention that Mauritius was very lucky to benefit from the donation. I must say, Mauritius was very lucky to benefit from the donation of vaccine against COVID-19 from the government of India. In fact, our first consignment of vaccine came from you, India. We were in a moment of uncertainty, and this noble gesture came as a great relief. Shukriya. Please give India a big round of applause for this support to the whole world. You know, all around the world, there is admiration for your country's achievements. A country which is connected to the world, a country with a rich history, a global player. Since we arrived in India, we can see how your country is changing at a pace and manner which is unprecedented. Friends, I would remiss not to mention the long-standing bilateral relationship between India and my country, Mauritius. Our relationship is based on a profound understanding and appreciation of each other, with close cooperation in a wide range of sectors, I may say: education, fisheries, transport, construction, information technology, just to give a few examples. India has always stood by Mauritius. This indicates the strength of our relationship. India has played a vital role in the national development of Mauritius. Let me here pause to express the warmest greetings of our Prime Minister, Pravin Kumar Jagnat, to your Prime Minister, Narendra Modi ji, and the people of India. What is really crucial for Mauritius and India is our fundamental belief that we have to deliver for our people and that we serve our people, especially our elders, persons with disability, those living in poverty, to the best of our abilities. This conference is indeed an important platform for our two countries, India and Mauritius, to engage further in the spirit of improving the quality of life of our respective people. Dear friends, labor migration is recognized as an important aspect of development in countries of origin as well as countries of destination. If well managed, labor mobility is highly beneficial to migrants, their countries of origin, as well as their countries of destination. One thing is very important. Our approach has to focus on human aspect. To quote Mr. Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, all migrants are entitled to equal protection of all their human rights, end quote. My country is ever ready to welcome more Indian workers. We have the laws, the processes, the facilities, and the willingness to accommodate Indian workforce. In conclusion, I wish once again to express my gratitude to the Republic of India in helping my country to forge a better future. I truly hope and firmly believe that by joining hands and minds together, we can explore new avenues. Before ending, I would also like to commend the presence of Prime Minister Modi ji at the conference yesterday. He traveled from Delhi to Indore to deliver a very powerful speech here. There is no doubt this shows his great commitment to the Indian diaspora. In his insightful and inspiring remarks, Modi ji highlighted the strong blood relationship that binds all Indian diaspora. The diaspora is certainly a great pride for India. Thank you very much for your attention. Dhanyavad. Long live the Republic of India. Long live the Republic of Mauritius. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Excellency, including for bringing a large delegation from Mauritius and for saying that your hearts are all open for welcoming more Indian workforce in Mauritius as well. I would now like to invite Shri Yusuf Ali to make his initial intervention. I don't think he needs any introduction. He is the best known Indian businessman, especially in the Gulf, but in India as well. He is the chairman of Lulu Group, which is today one of the biggest retailers in the Gulf. Lulu Group operates 246 Lulu stores and 24 shopping malls across the GCC, Egypt, India, and the Far East. He is also a recipient of Padma Shri and Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award in recognition of his contribution to the society and for his pioneering business initiatives. Mr. Yusuf Ali's contribution to local economies in the Gulf especially is also very well recognized by their leaderships. He has, for example, been appointed a board member and second vice chairman of the Abu Dhabi Chamber of Commerce and Industry in 2021. Mr. Yusuf Ali's Lulu Group employs lakhs of Indians. He is therefore already helping the Indian workforce as a prominent member of the diaspora. I will request him to share his experience of employing Indian workforce and how they are perceived abroad. Thank you.
In the name of God, the most merciful, the most beneficent. My very dear friend, Honorable Minister Dharmendra Pradhanji, Honorable Minister from Mauritius, and my very dear friend, Honorable Minister for State for Foreign Affairs, Mr. Muralidharanji, and other ministers, my co-panelists, friends, brothers and sisters, diplomats. First of all, let me wish you all a happy and prosperous New Year. It is indeed a great honor to attend 17th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas as a non-resident Indian based in the Gulf countries. I always say one thing in the PBD, that when I visited Kenya, East Africa, one of my business associates told me that Hamara tan, that means my body, our body is in Kenya. हमारा हमारा धन लंदन में है, मीन्स माई वेल्थ इज इन लंदन. हमारा मन हिंदुस्तान में है. हमने यही जवाब दिया, हम लोग जो गल्फ में रहता है वो लोगों को धन, तन और मन सब हिंदुस्तान में है. So, India is progressing day by day under the dynamic leadership of Sri Narendra Modi ji, our Honorable Prime Minister. Our Honorable Prime Minister made a new law that NRI investment is treated as domestic investment. This is only because of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and his government. So we should be thankful to him for this. Before, we used to face a lot of problems and questions for investing in India, that means non-resident Indians. Our diaspora will do anything to support this great country of India and our Indian brothers and sisters. Once upon, we used to say that our biggest challenge is our population. Now, we can say strongly and without doubt that our biggest asset is our young population. At the same time, we should continue to identify labor supply gaps in overseas and labor market and the skills required by Indian workers to fill the gaps. Our government is coordination with our diaspora and in consultation with professional bodies and private sector can initiate programs for skill development and skill upgradation and thereby promote employment opportunities abroad. As we all know, there are millions of Indians in the Gulf and they constitute the largest single expatriate community. Non-resident Indians are contributing a lot for the financial stability of our country. Their savings have been a positive factor in boosting our economy. Our Honorable Prime Minister and other national and state leaders have always appreciated the contribution of NRIs to our country. Our government, in coordination with the diaspora, can initiate the programs as I mentioned. The government should initiate pre-departure orientation programs for various categories of workers. We should coordinate with other employment promotion agencies, including the State Manpower Development Corporation, Project Manpower Supplier, and Foreign Employment. Our government should adopt training material developed by the International Labour Organization and International Organization for Migration. In Government of Kerala has a committee named Non-Resident Kerala's, which Honorable Chief Minister is the chairman. I am the vice chairman in that committee. The committee also recruits people of employment in foreign countries. Labor Department of foreign countries also trusts and welcomes this move as this is a government body. If this model is followed in the other states, it will be a great help that those who wish to come to the Gulf countries for the employment. So our Honorable Dharmendra Pradhan ji should take initiative for this. I am very happy that the Ministry of External Affairs is actively engaging with the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship and the outbreak activities which state governments. The ministry can act as a facilitator in connecting our diaspora with employees, state governments, industry, chamber of commerce, international organizations like ILO to create the mutuality win-to-win situation. Our diaspora can play a great role to enhancing access to information about job opportunities in destination. 30,000 Indians, 31,000 Indians, 30,800 Indians working for us. And they are very honest, dedicated, and hardworking. This is our Indian workforce. So we should promote this, our Indian workforce all over the world. We have got, as rightly our Honorable Minister mentioned, from the cleaner to the space engineer or the space scientist. We have got enough our people here, so they can also take jobs outside India. I would be very happy if your discussions and debates on the subject would generate new perspective and the way forward further enable the global mobility of Indian workforce. I once again thank Government of India and Ministry of External Affairs, especially Ministry of External Affairs for arranging such a wonderful platform and inviting me to say a few words. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, Mr. Muralidharji and his team, and all friends. Thank you very much. We have got a huge delegation from Gulf, and Madam Minister, we are very happy that the largest foreign delegation from our country, our brotherly country, sisterly country, Mauritius. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Ms. Shiba Nankulia. She is a leading Australian marketeer and global diversity leader. She is founder CEO of Multi Connections Group and the former national chair of Australia-India Business Council. She was the first woman national chair of this council. She was on Government of Australia's India Council board, advising the government on matters related to India. She was also a reference group member of the India Economic Strategy 2035 group. Ms. Shiba is actively engaged in social development and community projects, including in India. Australia, as we all know, has emerged as a favorite destination for Indians for education as well as work. I would request Ms. Shiba to focus on this aspect and how diaspora leaders like her are helping in this regard. Ms. Shiba.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Vipulji. It is indeed an honor and pleasure and privilege to be here. Such an amazing global Indian diaspora and platform. I have thought deeply about this topic, and before I end, I'm actually going to provide my suggestions for an initiative to Honorable Minister in terms of what we can do to enable this mobility further. So today, I would first like to commence by thanking the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, his team, and the amazing hospitality we have received from Indore. Please, a big, big clap for not just the cuisine, just the hospitality that we are talking about, which Indian culture is so famous for. A warm welcome to all and thank you to our panelists, and I'm looking forward to hearing from them, as also the Minister from Mauritius. It was amazing listening from you what's happening and your personal story too. Minister of Overseas Indian Affairs, Shri Muralidharan, Honorable Minister is here. Thank you for your presence. Today, what I was going to do was really look at how I want to structure my thoughts. And it's going to be in three distinct steps. One is define, two, align, and three, refine in terms of how we can take this strategy forward for the government of India. So when I talk about define, it's really about first understanding who is this global Indian workforce. And I want to just keep it very short. The global Indian workforce are definitely work visa holders, and we have lots of them in various countries and definitely in Australia, from IT workers to health workers to hospitality workers, so many of them. International students, a huge, huge opportunity. And I'm so glad that I've been able to share my thoughts, not just with all of you, but also in the presence of our minister, because I do want to put together some suggestions for you. If we look at temporary work visa holders, there's lots happening in Australia. And I'm really, really pleased for a decade and a half, starting from, in fact, hosting PM Modi in his first trip to Australia as the National Vice Chair of the Australia-India Business Council. We worked hard on the ECTA, which has finally got signed. And I can assure you, education is going to be one of the biggest pillars. And I, for one, I sat on a DFAT board too, and I used to always tell them, not mining, not resources, not energy, but education. Because it is absolutely critical for our progress and development wherever we might be. In this context, I also want to kind of share what the Indian diaspora in Australia is like. It is the fastest growing diaspora in Australia. It has become the second largest diaspora only after UK. And guess what? Census 21 has declared Australia a migrant majority nation. What does this mean? Where are the migrants going to come from? The work visa holders going to come from? Obviously, a big part that India will play in this. A huge part. Yeah, absolutely. The other thing is the Indian diaspora has really rapidly not just grown, but also grown, not just grown in terms of numbers, but in terms of affluence. It is interesting to see, and I definitely do not want to judge people by material goods, but they are sending money rapidly home. They are huge into investments, property investments, and they are rapidly emerging as one of the finest employers in Australia. And what does this mean? It means more employment. I, for one, in my company, I look for talent. And guess what? The talent I find is with international students. It's with new migrants who may be coming in and may not have local experience, but the experience they are bringing is just valuable. So I think there's a huge opportunity with now in Australian Indian employers and how we can contribute here. Almost 800,000 people are born in India, in Australia, Australians, and that's going to be close to 1 million. Now, let me also look at something else, which is very interesting about the Australian Indian diaspora. They are the second highest tax paying community diaspora in Australia. And I think that's a big clap. They are very good in terms of they've carried their cultural roots and values of honesty, sincerity, integrity in everything that they do. And that's the only road to success, nothing else, and prosperity. And it's showing now. Interestingly, something else also, which has become pretty good, I have to say. And I find that a lot of Indians are now in influential positions in Australia. It is very important to be, it's not because of the position that you are in, but the influence that you can exert in certain roles that you play. I, for one, have never missed out ever trying to ensure that we can go advocacy and do stuff for India wherever we can. Whether I sat on a DFAT board for almost 5 years and ensured that India has to be in the center of discussions whenever we talk about bilateral business and trade. Or as women in business, ensuring that we try and do more with women entrepreneurs here in Australia, in India, between the two countries. I do want to now go into the second aspect of it. So I've defined what workforce is and what the diaspora is like in Australia. Is the alignment. Now, is the government in a country aligned to our thinking or not? Are they receptive to these people coming in and being welcomed? It's not just enough to get people in, you have to make them feel included and inclusive and make them feel belong. Now, this is very interesting. I have to share something with the latest change of the government, and by all means, all governments have been very pro-India. But the latest change of government, the Home Affairs Minister gave an interview very recently where she spoke about the fact that she wants Australia to become the first choice destination for global talent and workforce across the world. How good is that for a minister to speak openly? And what does this mean, she said? She said, it's about not just making tweaks in my migration policy, but it means overhauling the migration system to see how can we make it work for Australia. And who is going to be a big beneficiary? Definitely India. Now, also very interesting, and Honorable Minister Pradhan, I am somebody who believes strongly in education because everything else. And we recently had an annual business summit at the AIBC and invited the Foreign Affairs Minister, uh, Minister Penny Wong. And she started her speech by saying, my father gave me one piece of advice when I came to Australia. He said, they can take away anything from you, but never your education. And at the end of the day, I strongly believe if there's one department, one ministry that can really pull everything together, that's education, definitely. Now, just moving on, if that is how Australia views and migration or attraction of global talent, there's a huge opportunity, and we can see that. Now, let me also look at India. When we look at workforce talent and we talk about Indians, we're talking about people who are, first of all, young demographics, very aspirational, educated, very positive, and definitely India is primed for the digital world, the new technology, and the new entrepreneurial world. Because I remember in my MBA days, 100 students in my institute, 3 girls, 97 boys. Today, when I'm called to actually speak and share my experiences with them, I see 60% women and 40% men, boys. This is amazing. This is India, guys. And I can tell you this is not happening in many other countries. So this is fantastic. Now, just coming back again to the fact that we do have some amazing Indian workforce, very dynamic, but also very culturally rooted, carrying their values. And I think, ma'am, you spoke about it in the way they bring values to Mauritius or, the Lulu Group, how their employees have been. I think those are very critical in terms of what they carry. Now, how is it that the diaspora can assist? Now, definitely the way the diaspora can assist would be helping with more student exchanges and really influencing the government to go for more student exchanges, higher professional migration intake, really advocating for faster work visa rules and processing, and opportunities for expanding business globally and especially in India. I'd like to end by talking about how do we refine and bring it together. Now, there's no question that the Indian diaspora will play 2 key roles. One, education, about Brand India, and PM Modi in his speech yesterday spoke about New India, Brand India, how we, the NRIs and the diaspora, can be the Rashtriya Dut, that is the ambassadors. So that's how we can educate and change the perception of the countries where we reside in terms of the new India and the advantages that India has. Now, I can go back and talk about one of my clients. It's one of the largest telecom companies that we work with in Australia, who have set up massive offices here. And I remember chatting to the CEO, and he's saying, Shiva, I don't see India as a back-end office for me. I see India as where I'm doing my research and innovation, which is really literally the force and growth of my company. So what Indian skills and youth are all about. Just in terms of what more can the diaspora do, and which I've been also doing, is try and showcase as much as you can the changes and developments that are happening in India. Because we've got an app. Early in the morning, I get up, I tap, and I take the Sydney Morning Herald News. Next tap, Times of India. So, we are the ones who know what is happening live, real, and we have the access and the influence, and we can make it happen. Let's educate them. Let's take them on this journey with us. The other thing also I was very keen to end with is that probably being a marketing person myself, if you were to ask me, which is probably the best brand development and creation which has happened in the past 10 years, it's Brand India. And I would really like everyone to applaud from our perspective as global Indian diaspora. Brand India represents new India, dynamism. And that reminds me, I had gone to a startup. I was visiting a startup for women. Can you believe it? They were between and this was somewhere in Kerala. In fact, I shared with you yesterday the story, Minister. And four women between the ages of 20 and 24. One was an IT person, one was a pediatrician, and two were doctors. They were working on a unique solution to try and predict genetic disorders in babies. 6 p.m. There were three of them, and I asked them, where's your fourth person? Oh, it's 6 o'clock. They must have gone home. And the three of them turned around, and the youngest one, who was barely 20, said, ma'am, this is India. This is a startup, and we are 24/7. How well did that sum up the culture and sincerity of how the workforce works here? And that's the workforce that the countries across the world want, literally. So in summation, I'd just like to say that I have a suggestion for you, Honorable Minister, and I'll use this platform to be able to suggest that to you. Having worked with Invest India and Niti Aayog and all of them across the years, I do believe that the time has come for us to really have India go forward, not just as the largest economy, but part of the Amrit Kal that Honorable Prime Minister Modi spoke about. Can we start something like Opportunity India, which will be a part of your ministry? We're very happy, people like us, and there are a lot more here, who will be able to contribute and work together with you to create something where we can align some major countries, what their skill and workforce requirements are, along with actually bringing those opportunities to India and making it happen. So with that, I would like to kind of end today and thank everyone, especially the MEA, for inviting me today, and this wonderful city, and Minister, your presence to be able to share these thoughts with you today is really incredible. And I'd like to thank all our members who are present here today. All of you do amazing job, and I know it because we're not paid for going around and advocating or educating people about India, but we do it because we are passionate and we want to do it. Thank you, everyone, and I look forward to connecting with you.
Thank you, Shivaji. Our next panelist is Mr. Sanjeev Sinha, who is from Japan, and I would request him for his initial intervention. He's an IIT Kanpur alumni and deeply involved in India-Japan economic partnership. He built a career in finance industry, working with top names like Goldman Sachs and UBS. As chief country representative for Tata Asset Management and Tata Realty and Infra in Japan, he raised about 1.5 billion US dollars for investments into India. Along the way, he has built and headed many new platforms for India-Japan collaboration, such as being founding president of IIT Alumni Association Japan, founding president of India-Japan Partnership Group, and co-founder of Marunouchi India Economic Zone, and founding president of TAI Japan. He has also been a regular commentator on national TV and columnist in newspapers, frequent speaker at top industry bodies, and he would a little bit on the India-Japan partnership, which has been very successful one, I should say, on mobility. Both India and Japan have also signed a memorandum of cooperation in 2021 for specified skilled workers for movement of Indian workers in 14 categories to Japan. So over to you, Mr. Sanjeev Sinha. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate this grand initiative of getting us Indian diaspora together here in this wonderful city of Indore. So, good morning, everyone. I am Sanjeev Sinha from Japan. In interest of time, I will keep my talk very short and hopefully have more time to discuss later. Coming to very specifics, let me talk about two very important types of skills we Indians are really displaying across the world. One is the high technology skills, and secondly, our global soft skills. Coming from Japan, I see a need and opportunity for both of them for Japan and in collaboration for across the world. As an example, as the founder and president of IIT Alumni Association in Japan, we initiated and created a Japanese collaboration for IIT Hyderabad. Japan wanted to collaborate with the new IIT in India. And that led to 400 million US dollars of funding for IIT Hyderabad. And along with that, we brought a powerful consortium of Japanese industry and top Japanese universities to India for that consortium. On the soft side, we know we have in the world CEOs lists, people like the CEO of Citibank, people like world CEO of MasterCard, Microsoft, Google. I don't think this is incidental. This is deeply rooted in our philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And that's what enables us as Indian diaspora to lead across the world, to lead the multinationals which encompass the whole world, 200 plus countries of the world. And this is much more needed. The philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which is the core theme of very aptly for the G20 presidentship of India. Today, given the war-like situation we are going through and a world which is unfortunately seems to be disintegrating rather than coming together today. We as Indians and Indian diaspora must play a leading role in bringing the world together, of course, economically, in terms of human resource, but not just that, also in terms of technology and as a human civilization. Our philosophy only can do that for the world. During my 26 years in Japan, I have very closely felt it myself and experienced it on so many platforms that were mentioned earlier, that Japan is a very committed partner for India on this vision and mission. And I look forward to discuss further with Minister Pradhanji and eminent panelists and all of you further on this and how to take it forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sinha. Our next panelist is Shri Kuldeep Singh Shekhawat, who is a regular columnist for Punjab Kesari till 1984 and was a regular speaker on various TV channels regarding overseas Indian affairs. He moved to the UK in 1997 to work as Director Programming of Reminiscent Television Network. He has served as Director of MATV from 2006 till date and Director of Swagat TV from 2014 till date. He is also the Chairman of Rajasthan Association UK since 2012, and he has been involved in various charitable activities, including with Ram Mandir South Hall, Narayan Seva Sansthan, Udaipur, Tara Sansthan, and Akshay Patra Food Program in India as well as in UK. I hand over to you. Thank you.
Namaste, respected Dharmendra Pradhan ji, Minister HRD, Minister from Mauritius, my fellow colleagues on the dais, and the great Indian diaspora. Thank you, Indore. You have been a great hospitable city. Well, my task is to speak about United Kingdom, and we have a huge history with United Kingdom. United Kingdom, well, we have around 200 years of history with United Kingdom, at least. We got freedom in 1947, but Indian diaspora started moving to United Kingdom in 1920s. During the First World War, Second World War, a lot of Indians had gone there. And frankly speaking, we were not doing great job in United Kingdom then. Very menial job, factory workers, bus drivers, coal mine workers. That was the Indian diaspora way back in 1940s till 1970. And now the diaspora stands at around 2 million strong, and a very vibrant Indian diaspora lives in United Kingdom. In last 9 years, roughly 9 years, since Prime Minister Modi has taken over the politics of India, there's a major shift and a major shift in the discussion in the Indian British community. We call ourselves as British Indians. On political side, before that we used to have one member of parliament. Now we have around 15 members of parliament, and in House of Lords, quite a few House of Lords members of Indian origin. Now we talk about the employment sector in UK. UK being a service industry oriented country, it's not a manufacturer to per se, very expensive manufacturing happens in UK, so service oriented country. The biggest sector in UK is service sector. Now we need young qualified Indians. The rustic Indian who had gone earlier was only a worker. Scene has changed completely. Coming to the current scenario, there's a dramatic change in the same workforce. We have 4 sectors in UK where Indian diaspora is very active: health, retail, IT, and food sector. In 1980, suddenly UK realized that we have a shortage of doctors and nurses. What happens? They short Indians. And now, as of now, I can just give you a roundabout figure. 40,000 old doctors and nurses work in UK. It's a small nation. We are only around 60 million people. Still 40,000 doctors serve United Kingdom, and they're all Indian doctors. So National Health Service, 13% of the National Health Service is controlled by the Indian diaspora in UK. I'll tell you something very interesting on this side. In UK, we have National Health Service, which is a public welfare service, completely free. Indians took up the case in a very different way. We have started building nursing homes. In real terms, they are like old age homes. But mind you, some of them are five-star rated facilities with excellent support system on health side plus personal side. Interestingly, there was a shift in 1972, which I should mention. In East Africa, there was a dictator called Idi Amin. Most of my Gujarati friends here must be sure about it. He kicked out 27,000 Indian families in 2 months actually. In 2 months, he kicked out 60,000 Indian families. Out of them, 27,000 went to United Kingdom. And they had no food, they had no job, they had nothing. They started from scratch, and today, second generation in United Kingdom of those families are doctors, engineers, IT professionals, and they are doing very well. IT sector is the most growing sector in United Kingdom. Many Indian companies have offices in UK. They bring in the talented Indian IT professionals, which are being employed in United Kingdom, from financial companies to the UK government, as well as the entire service sector, aviation sector, banking, large departmental stores, all have Indians are all around. Anyone visiting UK must be aware of a congestion charge which is being levied in the central London. One of the most interesting fact about that is being handled by an Indian company sitting somewhere in New Bombay. So that is the kind of cooperation we have on the IT side with India. Can you believe in a small country which is smaller in size than Madhya Pradesh, there is one more growing sector, food, the Indian curry. There are around 15,000 Indian restaurants in and around London and UK, which is a very big sector. And Indian food is the most popular food in United Kingdom. Some of them are run by Bangladeshi community, but if you don't name it Indian, it has to be Indian restaurant. It won't work. That is the kind of Indianness that has gone into United Kingdom. Indians have opened some cash and carry businesses. Indians have opened some big departmental stores. So overall, the Indian diaspora in UK is doing quite well. Well, the suggestion for the panelists and for the crowd here, one sector we are not looking at is the tourism sector. Madhya Pradesh and rest of India also has a huge potential of tourism. And I think Government of India should step up their, system so that tourism can be improved between India and UK. UK has a lot of potential and India can also send a lot of tourists to UK and can bring in British tourists to India. With Rishi Sunak, an Indian, as Prime Minister of UK, British Indians are now focused more about the roots. They are now of the opinion we should do more to support our motherland. Yesterday itself, just yesterday, an agreement was signed by Indian High Commissioner Sri Vikram Dorai Swamiji and Permanent Secretary to UK Home Office for a deal regarding young professionals. So young professional scheme with India has come into effect. 2,000 young Indian professionals will gain exposure in UK every year. And then they have an option of taking employment in United Kingdom. So there is a huge potential of Indian diaspora taking a very significant in these different sectors. India is growing. We are part of a global family, and I see there is a huge shift in the world towards India under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi ji. Thank you very much for inviting us, and thank you very much, Indore, again for being so hospitable. Dhanyavad.
Thank you, Mr. Kuldeep Shekhawat, for giving the UK perspective. I would now invite Dr. Siddiq Ahmed, who will speak a little bit about Saudi Arabia. He is the chairman and managing director of ERAM Group, a business conglomerate with 40 plus business units spread across 16 countries, but headquartered in Saudi Arabia and with regional offices in the UAE and India. He was the recipient of 2021 Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award. He is consecutively listed in the top 20 list of Indian business leaders in the Arab world by Forbes Middle East. He also serves as the co-chair of FICCI's Indo-Arab Council and is an active Gulf Committee member on CII as well. Dr. Siddiq is also the vice president of the Saudi Indian Business Network, the MAM chapter. I would now request him to make his intervention.
Thank you, Vipul. Good morning, Honorable Minister, respected Chair, my fellow panelists, and our distinguished guest. It's given me great pleasure to be part of this plenary session. Just to be brief about my personal journey, Iram Skill Academy, established in 2015 as a part of Iram Group, is a non-funded partner of National Skill Development Corporation, NSDC, associated with Kerala State Academic for Skill Excellence, and is located in Kerala, Angamali. Let me talk about me first. Why did I start skill development? I'm doing manpower business in Saudi Arabia and GCC, and very well associated with almost all the EPC contractors. I came to Delhi with my son, Rizwan Ahmad, to meet APJ Kalam. APJ was asking him, what are you studying? He says, I'm planning to be in doctor in 10th standard when he's come here. So he told me, you don't need to follow others. You should be intuitive. You should be your own. Then it's influenced me. And he said to me, Siddiq, India people have 6 to 20 kind of certificate, and there doesn't work for that certificate. We wanted to train the people, especially in skill, where they should work, they should have the hand knowledge. Because of our beloved President of India, who is no more with us, but his inspiration with Indian youth very strongly influenced. Like me, I started this division. So from Iram Group experience of over 2 decades in providing staffing services and technical support services for several larger corporations in the Middle East and giga projects like Saudi Aramco, Sabiq, like Neom, Red Sea, Gidea in Saudi Arabia. We have provided job opportunities to over 20,000 plus candidates in the past several years in different sectors. I'm proud that we have most of the people from India and highly paid salaries are from all the engineers. Minister, I would like to discuss few points. I recommend establishing a centralized web-based recruitment portal that integrates Takshashila. You have already Takshashila, which is a national portal for trainers and assessors. Kaushal Mart, the online skills resources marketplace is by the adoption of emerging technologies like artificial intelligence that facilitate onboarding of candidates, skill matching based on past experiences, newly graduate candidates are available in a centralized portal, which will be enabled foreign recruitment officers who are working with different companies abroad to source the candidates for different sector and candidates to apply for available job. The idea is to reduce recruitment time so that the overseas companies can save time on recruitment, resulting in a mapping of migrant works, skills, and available job. I was thinking that, I don't know, it's my ambitions. Maybe it is more, I don't know, it could be work or not, but my dream is there. From 32 million workforce today, that's meaning we can increase like 1 million every year. We can reach to 40 million in 2030 vision. And we can reach to 40 million in 2047. Now, presently, we are receiving 100 billion US dollar as a revenue from the workforce from outside. It can be increased to 200 billion. It is possible if we work together with, along with our Pravasi friends and families. Minister, by increasing the number of trainee assessors, academics across India, a great number of qualified trainers in different sectors will be available as per the required industrial practices. Kaushal Mart, the online skilling resources marketplace, can be add a virtual mentoring platform where mentors can help candidates with the job transition. This is very important. People are always confused what to do. So where we can have a platform for mentoring, career guidance, or promoting job, search counseling, foreign recruitment officers, recruiting agents can publish quarterly skill demand based on their past hiring experience in different countries. We should focus to further promote NSTC Skill India and industry partnership by strengthening the collaboration with international companies and create a web-based mentoring platform by sharing the latest technology R&D initiative, monthly webinar, or various technical subjects. Minister, the strengthen and gather sufficient data on migrant workers, including reverse migrant. Ministry of Skill Development Entrepreneurship has formulated special program during COVID-19 under its flagship scheme, Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. The Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana, this program should be implemented in all states across India. It is very difficult other people to understand. So I think we need to increase this to across India through the state skill mission or NSTC Skill Partner Center. Our migrant workers have the excellent skill and training required to placement in other countries, but due to not being proficient in English, they lost out on jobs to workers from Africa and Philippines who have advanced communication skills in addition to English. Regional language like in Europe can be taught, which will give preference for our candidates like doctors and nurses who are proficient in their regional language. NSDCI signed a MOU with Takamul, holding to Saudi Arabia skill verification program. I'm basically in the last 38 years in Saudi Arabia. That's why I'm most focusing on Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia just now signed with the Indian government, with the NSDCI, Takamul holding, supporting Saudi Arabia skill verification program, SVP, which aimed to verify the professional workers process to the qualification and skill required to perform the professions in which they work. IRAM is working with NSDCI to be one of the affiliated partner for this program, Minister. Based on our experience, apart from oil and gas and power sector, Saudi Arabia has an increasing demand of skilling workforce in automotive, construction, and information technology, emerging technologies, to augment their giga projects ambitions. Indian workforce are highly respected for their discipline and talent. We need to be better equipped and be preferred partner. As you know that our Prime Minister Narendra Modi and our King Salman as relations, Saudi Arabia, India can increase our number of manpower easily. At the IRAM Group, it will be honored to support the Government of India to be an enabler for global mobility of Indian workforce. Our mission is to train and place the youth in India with particular skill sets to cater to the never-ending demand for skilled workers in the job market and to create more generate more employment opportunities. During the past several years, we have witnessed the bilateral relationship between India and Saudi Arabia are strong due to the active engagement of both the countries, leaders sharing common vision for prosperity and growth. Also, Ministry of External Affairs has been instrumental in increasing the recruitment process of migrants. A special thanks to all distinguished officers under the MAE. I would like to thank Government of Madhya Pradesh hosting us, giving a nice food as everyone says, and enjoy your climate as well, and for being an excellent host. And the Government of India for giving us a platform for bringing us together. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Mr. Siddiq Ahmed. I've been told that Honorable Finance Minister has also arrived at the venue from 11:30. We still have one final speaker in this session, and I would request, he's my senior colleague, so I can definitely make that request from Ambassador Anil Trigunayar to be very short in his intervention. He's a member of the Indian Foreign Service, and apart from several postings that he did, he was ambassador to Jordan and Libya and High Commissioner to Malta. Currently, he's a distinguished fellow at Vivekananda International Foundation and is an active contributor to writings on Gulf and Middle East. I would hand the floor over to him, after which we can perhaps take one or two comments and questions, and then we'll have to close this session fairly quickly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Vipul. Honorable ministers, distinguished panelists, esteemed diaspora delegates, namaste. I know being the last is the most difficult dimension because everything has been already said. But since there are no free lunches, let me just say a few words in a few minutes' time. You know, in 2 months' time, in March, we will be the most populous country in the world, which means the largest, youngest aspirational population and the talent is going to come from India. We already have the largest Indian diaspora. And as the Honorable Minister said, our target is to reach it somewhere around 100 million. Since yesterday, we are hearing of various opportunities. Various dimensions have been spoken and the new initiatives by several of my friends here on the dais and before in various panels. Let me touch upon, because I have served mainly in West Asia, Africa, and also in the US, and looked at the Europe in certain ways. So let me talk about a bit of a challenge, because it is important to continue to have a SWOT analysis of the situation. And it needs to be treated as a project, exactly how we are going to create a larger footprint for the Indian diaspora in countries where they are not, and what is happening in the world. For example, in Europe, it is a graying and declining population. There are tremendous opportunities. We have been hearing from Japan, we have been hearing from Germany, from many other countries, and just now a friend told from UK, that they are looking for a skilled workforce. And therefore, that's a very big opportunity for us. Indian government has been consistently working together. Mobility agreements have been signed just in last 2 weeks with UK, with Cyprus, and with Austria. And we are in touch with the European Union on this. So migration and mobility remains on the mind of the government all the time. But the role of the Indian diaspora is extremely important too in that. And that is that they can help identify opportunities and help those Indians who are going to come once we have a centralized database available, which is like Swadesh at one time and for the returning Indians. And we use that and somehow plug it between the Indian missions and the Indian associations, especially the business ones, which are there. Indian professionals have excelled everywhere. Indian entrepreneurs, some of them are here on the dais. My friend Yusuf Ali and Mr. Sadiq are here. We have seen that they can do what and excel everywhere. But we need to be careful of one thing. Some of our own ilk often can say things that could be very difficult, make difficult for India, can bring, like, for example, we heard about the Home Secretary of UK, about India. We have certain people in our diaspora who can create problems for India's national interests. In Canada, for example. So large number of Indian diaspora who's there, they need to take care of that particular, because it's a holistic process in which we have to move forward. I would also like to talk about West Asia. It was mentioned that in Saudi Arabia and UAE, we have 9 million of them. And they are extremely productive, dedicated, the most preferred labor force anywhere we have. But at the same time, we have to be mindful of various localization moves that are going to take place and the changes in these countries which are taking place with regard to technology. They are technologically upgrading themselves, diversifying themselves. Therefore, adequate corresponding skills need to be provided. We need to have the kind of workforce. Yesterday, this Prime Minister inaugurated the stamp which says "Prashikshit Rahiye, Surakshit Rahiye." So once you are educated and skilled, you are going to be extremely successful yourself and look after without getting into the trap of various agents. As far as Africa is concerned, I must say that we have limited to a certain countries in Africa mostly, although some of my friends from Cameroon, Nigeria are here. But I think that that is our biggest asset. And since the world is going to witness an Afro-Asian century, most likely from second half of this century onwards, it is important we try to invest into those countries. I remember when I was in Nigeria, the former president Obasanjo used to say that Indians are the second largest employers of Nigerians after the federal government. So you have that kind of a caliber. We have these success stories. We are all doing extremely well. In the United States, you have the highest per capita people, but we need to be careful. In the Western countries, we are also looking at growth of several ultra-rightist groups which are anti-immigration. And that will be a big challenge, and that challenge needs to be addressed. I know the time is very tight, but I'll be sharing with my colleagues in the Foreign Ministry some of my suggestions. But I'm thankful to the ministry for including me in this panel, esteemed panel, and to share some of my thoughts. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you, sir, for your remarks. From the floor, from the audience, we can take a maximum of 2 comments or questions. Please identify yourself and the person to whom you are addressing your question.
Sir, here. So
Yes, okay. Whoever has the mic first can speak.
God. Hello.
Yeah.
I'm Swadesh, coming from Hyderabad, Telangana. Sir, people are coming back due to Corona on Vande Bharat missions flights and chartered flights. Many migrants, they came back with empty-handed. Due to unpaid and due wages, the struck at end of service benefits at Gulf destinations. This is the issue. We lead a campaign, justice for wage theft. But as of now, they didn't receive their back wages. We need access of justice.
Thank
to
you.
the migrant
Thank you.
workers.
Thank you very much for your comment. You
Yeah.
raised this with Honorable Minister yesterday.
Yes.
I would say that this
Yeah.
question does not belong to this particular session where we are focusing on
Yeah,
migration
but
and
it's a labor mobility.
So thank you very much. We have noted
That's
your
why I'm
concerns
raising.
yesterday.
Sir,
We
here.
can move to
Sir,
the next one.
Sir,
Thank
I'm
you.
Ibrahim. I've come from UAE. I'm representing
good
Dubai
morning.
KMCC. My question to Sri Padmasri Yusuf Ali, sir. Sir, you have been a role model for many people in UAE as well as in other countries. You have mobilized around 63,000 plus employees in your 245 outlets and shopping malls. You have not only given a job to those workforce, also you make sure that their salary being used properly. They're paying, they're taking care of their parents and all those. How you do that?
What is, what is the question now?
Question is, you make sure that all the workforce, they use their salary properly and they're taking care of their parents. They're using for good words.
Now, my friends, I am requesting my colleagues that financial management should be perfect, and the salary that you are getting, a part you should send to your parents for their medical treatment or for their food, etc. This is a request and I am writing to their parents if they are not getting money. I used to send, I cut their salary and sent to their parents sometimes. If they didn't agree, I myself is sending to their family. So this, as a humanitarian, we have to do approach. We have to do this.
Sir, one second.
One last
Yeah,
question
my name is Advocate Y.A. Rahim, President of Indian Association Sharjah. So we from the Gulf, a lot of delegates are here. We didn't get any opportunity to raise our issues. I know this is a separate section handled by the ministers and all. Mr. Vipul, long period he was the Consul of United Arab Emirates, and he has served well. And here, Mr. Yusuf Ali MA, our foreign ambassador, he is here, he will raise all the issues. But some kind of things has to be raised here. Number one, the voting rights of the Pravasis. The Election Commission already decided, and it is in the table of the Government of India. Honorable Minister, he is here, he is a good minister. He is the one who allotted the National Testing Agency, the Sharjah Indian School as a center. Sir, we take this opportunity to express our gratitude to you. And the second thing, after the voting rights, you know, the entire Gulf, they are suffering a lot because of the exorbitant fare. So please, the Air India already sold to the Tata. So we have to find out some sort of things to cover the exorbitant airfare, and you have to intervene the airlines to reduce the fare.
Thank you, Rahim sir. Thank you. We've noted your concerns, but
And
please,
moreover, otherwise, give the chance to chart the flights. We will do that.
I would request whoever is taking the floor, please stick to the topic of this session. We have very eminent question or comment, after which I would request Honorable Minister to make his concluding remarks.
Namaste,
Thank you very
Bhaiya.
much.
This is Avinash.
Namaste.
I am from
This is Avinash.
UAE. Namaste, this is Ramesh Shah.
I represent Global Talent Exchange. We are a platform for NRIs who are looking at returning back to India. It's lovely listening into all the panelists here talking about what NRIs are doing and how the mobility, of NRIs across the globe is going on. But is there a program or something of that sort where the government of India is looking at also bringing back the talent into India, because there's a lot of gap when it comes to emerging tech talent. So the reverse migration or the brain gain, is there something specific being done on that space, sir? Mr. Honorable Minister, sir.
Thank you. We
Hello, excuse
we
me.
would stop here. Please, our panelists are going to be here for some time. You can take it offline from this room because we have to start our next panel discussion. No, please sit down. No more questions or comments. I would now request Honorable Minister to answer this particular question and then make his concluding remarks, and then we finish this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
You've been a
Vipul.
great audience.
Thank you, my colleague panelists, especially Honorable Minister Jiwa and all other dignitaries in the days, and all the delegates of this conference. And I would like to answer one question as suggested by Vipul. If the reverse migration will be there, what is our plan? whether we will encourage reverse migration, and if they will come, what they will do. Friends, let us see one thing. You all are talented person. We expect that also. If a person with a good business model, good business practice coming back to India, his experience and his knowledge, his wisdom is certainly complement our Indian ecosystem. We encourage all the people, whether they are in country, whether they are in outside overseas, they all have to contribute the national ecosystem. In the era of technology, where do you stay? It doesn't matter. My dear friend Yusuf Bhai is doing business all over world. Sometime he is in Dubai, sometime he is in Kerala, sometime he is in London. This is not an issue. Where do anybody in the era of technology staying? How ethically, how good practices is implementing, that is important. I hope all of you are talented person. Come back to India with new business idea and create a link. We will welcome you. There are different ministries working in the different area. I am thankful you all have remembered the entrance examination center of JEE, NEET, and now there will be CUET. Whenever our colleague will suggest somewhere in the overseas area, we are open to open more new centers of entrance. We'll welcome all of your suggestions. Finally, all the panelists has given very valuable suggestions from recruitment point of view, from new area, from the standardization, from the filling of the gaps. I have noted all of them. This is a very encouraging session for me. I can visualize the changing pattern of the global sphere. Government of India is committed to create a global ecosystem. We have, I have already said, we have Skill India digital platform. Lot of panelists and lot of you also suggested how do we interact in that platform. We are open to any suggestion and any new ideas, and this discussion is very fruitful for Government of India to create progressive policy. Thank you, friends.
Well, thank you, and on behalf of Government of India, Government of Madhya Pradesh as well, let me thank Honorable Minister Shri Dharmendra Pradhan Ji, Honorable Minister from Mauritius, Mrs. Fazila Jiva Doraibu, and all the panelists for this session, for this wonderful session. And thank you to the audience as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister Shri Dharmendra Pradhan Ji, for gracing the occasion. सभी esteemed dignitaries का बहुत-बहुत धन्यवाद पधारने के लिए और अपने बातें, अपने experiences हमसे share करने के लिए. Honorable Minister of Finance, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman Ji will be here in a short while from now. I request you all to kindly get seated for the next session as well. And before the Honorable Finance